Hello and welcome to another ALTTP daily race. Tonight we are going to be having a open 7-7 defeat Ganon seed. We will be featuring Etium, Miendium, Immortal Koi, and Homemade Beer. I am Zethno and I will be here with Vortex of Doom. How are you doing tonight, Vortex?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to this one. Been a while since I calmed a daily, so yeah, looking forward to just hanging out in the booth instead of in chat. So,
and I guess then, is there anything you would like to see tonight, to commentate or to see, or?
I mean, nothing in particular. Just some interesting routing choices, maybe some execution differences to highlight, or like different strats for rooms are always fun to see. Different starts. We got one adventurous Sank starter. Somebody is doing Link's house into Sank, which that's
Wait. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, so that's. I want to say, I might have heard Immortal Koi talking about that. I know somebody was mentioning maybe trying that out sometime. You know, hoping for like a flute in Link's house or something. Oh man. Guard prize pack.
All I can say right now though is, sorry, what was the guard prize pack? Because I missed it. Let's go back to that. Oh, we got the bomb pack. That's great. Of course, it's not. We're finally commentating not a standard seed, and we got the bomb drop pack on the guards.
Ooh, and 3 bombs in the Uncle drop down, which honestly, that is worth the Uncle route. Eddie and found out the prize pack as well, and
yeah, well, we do have someone very early in chat talking about Hammer in Ice Palace. After yesterday's qualifier, let's not have another tournament qualifier. Let's not have another seed where we're looking for Hammer. These runners don't want that again.
For something. Yeah, I'm sure none of these runners would like to see that, though.
But yeah, when you spend as long as you did yesterday looking for that Hammer, you don't want your next seed having the exact same item missing on you again.
Homemade Beer. Looking for another bomb. Looks like we're just gonna YOLO blindside.
And Tut always has something interesting. Until it doesn't, but, you know.
Maybe we'll get bailed out with some more bombs. There's a bottle, so that's Sick Kid.
I always love seeing a bottle in here. That I never forget to deal with. When I get a flute in here, I always forget to activate it. That's a bow. That's important.
Looks like we did get a map check. I didn't notice it, but our trackers did.
So that's a good time to shout out our trackers. We have Sorcerer, Finch, and Scrupula with us tonight, and yeah, thank you to them. Yeah, we got a map check.
Pendant Desert, the other 2 are crystals. I wonder if we'll see anybody head straight to Eastern after... Ooh, there's the Moon Pearl in the well. Homemade Beer will be leaving something in...
Sorry, I was just commenting on Immortal Koi, and I've seen this happen to runners a lot. When you're a little bit offset on where you throw that bomb in the well, you will have that bomb bounce back in your face. It really sucks when you don't have that one extra bomb. Thankfully, he did, so he could open the back.
So that's not too bad to only be out of bombs at that point. It's going to be a tough choice for Homemade Beer. We'll see if he goes back to the well or maybe tries to wait until maybe getting like Dark World access with Hammer or something. Do that on the way to Dark World. It's just 20 rupees back there, so it's not going to be a big issue.
But he doesn't know that. And the thing is, he could either try to buy them here, which is what he's going to do with 300 rupees early. I can definitely see that. If they were short rupees, you do have that 50-50 bomb potential drop in the bottom left corner of Kakariko as well by bombable shit.
Yeah, but the question is, will he go back and double dip the well right now, or will he continue on to race game and library, or will he do both? What would you do?
I think I'd go back to the well. Personally, you just don't know how long it's going to be until you get back to Kakariko, and you can be pretty sure that most of the other runners probably found a way to check this. And if you're the only runner who doesn't check this check, and it is something important, you could just be so far behind. It'll be so hard to catch up.
We did have that earlier, and all of our runners are about to get something that they might not be seeing much of lately with all the hard item pool going around, and that's the blue mail that Edium just got there. One of the best safeties in the game. Halves your damage from most sources, so it's definitely a welcome sight.
I definitely agree with the big tournament whose qualifiers are going on right now being on hard pool. We've been seeing a lot of it recently, and that to me is the hardest part of hard pool. The fact that you have no mail upgrades just means it is so easy to accidentally die to any boss in the game. We do have a bottle on race game. Oop.
Eastern is not only a crystal, it's a red crystal. It's one of our 5-6 crystals. So that seems to be where Immortal Koi is heading now.
I think all of our runners checked race game. Everybody saw that bottle with the red potion and said, not worth the time.
Yeah, I mean, they already have one. They got Sick Kid. I would have done the same thing.
Now, hopefully we don't see them run into a problem where they really want that red potion. Immortal Koi is having problems with the bombs. That's the second bomb that hasn't worked. That's a glove.
So that's one more piece of Dark World access.
Yeah, the Moon Pearl, the glove. We just need the hammer or the mitts now. We could always just have an Aga seed and get 2 swords in the lamp.
Yeah, so but we need one of 2 different items for Dark World access, and we need 3 items, 2 of which are set in stone for Aga access. So if I were a betting man, I would not be betting on an Aga seed at this point.
I fully agree with you. But as a viewer, it's always fun. As a runner, you're much happier to see the glove first.
Ooh, an Edium heading to Agina. Oh, and Mean DM as well. I didn't even notice this. Dam to Agina is it's a pretty safe play. We get the Cane of Burna for it. It is never a non-negligible amount of time to invest in one check that can be made a lot faster by looping it in with some other things. But
boots or flute, especially.
Yeah, nice to have it out of the way early, regardless.
The Cane of Burna it's never required. Well, I guess that's not true. Logically, it could be, but it's not too critical. But it is very nice, especially in the early game. The runners have 4 hearts, even with blue mail. If they get Dark World access, it could help with something like the blind fight pretty easily.
We missed Homemade Beer getting the hammer out of Mini Moldorm Cave. So, yeah, that'll be Dark World access. And we saw Kane on the floating island as well, on Edium's side.
No! Why is the glitch stick locked behind so many items? I never like seeing it. Oh, continue.
Homemade Beer is going for a fake flipper here, walking all the way back down from Ice White Cave. Without Zora money, I don't know that I would be committing to this, but
I agree.
he-
Without
he's
boots,
getting
especially.
there. You know, if he finds another 300 in one of these checks, he can do it. Maybe he's just going to do hobo, but if
Maybe.
you invest in hobo, I think you probably got to do waterfall fairy.
With the moon pearl, yeah. It's
Meanwhile,
just nice when you have the.
much in Eastern itself.
Oh, you see that?
I actually looked away.
There's a sword. What is the hobo doing with a sword? But that's beside the point. Homemade beer has a sword.
We saw a vanilla big key on Immortal Koi's side.
Ew.
That means that the boss is lamp locked. If the big key is before that, it can be. Fire Rod can get you logical access, but there are no torches to light on the way to the boss. So this is one of the trickier dark rooms in the game with no queue. Looks like Immortal Koi has taken a reset on it.
Yeah, that's definitely my strat as well. I know a lot of runners have a setup when you get into that room. You know where to stand, and if you just don't stand in the right place initially, that Igor just moves, and you just have no idea where he is anymore.
That was a flute for homemade beer in Waterfall Cave.
So
that is a fantastic reward for breaking logic, as Immortal Koi takes a death in the back of Eastern.
Yeah, I saw that death, but also, yeah, that's that comment where you were saying in that situation it's kind of iffy because you can't do Zora, so you're gonna isolate Zora when you do it. But sometimes you do it and you get a sword and the flute, and all of a sudden you have a nice advantage over the other runners.
Yeah, you even with those nice items, Zora's still kind of orphan. Maybe you can loop it in with Catfish later, but definitely, I think Homemade Beer at this point in time is pretty happy with that trip.
Oh, for sure. And he's just hoping he doesn't have to go back to Zora for anything important.
And Homemade Beer, they'll be very happy to have that sword when they presumably head to Eastern next. They don't really have anywhere else to go. That's in logic.
Oh, Immortal Koi has found that key, and there's the pot.
Open the door.
And should be going through the door. There it is. It very much helps that we have sound on the runner who's in the dark room.
Turning in the old man on Homemade Beer's side.
Oh, so not going to Eastern.
Waiting a while. Yeah, I mean, I think old man is a pretty reasonable first check to make. Maybe even Spec Rock. I don't love the play to go all the way to Spec Rock here, but really it's just a bet that you're going to find Hookshot before Mirror. And just getting the save and quit point, cleaning up Agina, and then I presume we'll be going to Eastern. Mushroom
yes, as you mentioned earlier but as you mentioned earlier, the flute being one of the items that makes Agina a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Meanwhile, Immortal Koi has picked up the boss fight and has gotten the first crystal of our restreamed runners.
And one of our runners, I don't know who saw it, who talked to Saha. I think it might have been Mean DM, but did talk to Sahasrala and find out that Pod was the green pendant. So he'll actually be the first one with Dark World access, and definitely will not be going straight to Pod with it, or probably won't. I know Pendant Pod is a fantastic bet, but
Not over the other
not where,
options.
yeah, not where you're gonna start in the Dark World. I expect we'll see probably at least one hype cave start.
Yeah, there is always that joke with our runners in general, with Pendant Pod always having something. That really comes down to the fact that Pod just has so many items. When you think about 5 items in Pod, it is the second most dense dungeon in the game.
Yeah.
There's also just a lot of keys.
And it one of the nice things about it is that at least 4 of those items are gonna be, you know, pretty close together. It's not like Swamp or TR, which are the other pretty high item dungeons where, you know, it takes a long time to get from check to check. You know, they're when you go to Pod, they're kind of all right there.
I kind of have to go back to something else. You mentioned earlier that this dark room in Eastern is a bit of a difficult room sometimes. Me and DM also went and grabbed a fairy coming. I don't know if that was coming back out of the room and then doing it again, but had a bit of issues. Grabbed the fairy for safety because that eye gorge likes to move out of your way.
Mortal Koi down to 1 bomb. That's a welcome refill there in Mini Moldorm. Gonna get his hammer here.
I'm just gonna pause our commentary here for 1 second. Welcome to the rating party from Speed Gaming 2. Welcome to a ALTTPR daily race.
And homemade beer, proving me wrong. Talks to Saha, gets the information. First runner to Dark World, straight to Pendant Pod.
But don't the runners like to do that?
Yeah.
Every time comms say something, they will do the opposite, having no idea what we said.
And you know, with Flute, it's really easy to get here. So like Mean DM, I could see checking it because you just walk straight out. But no, Mean DM isn't going to. And Homemade Beer can get here at any time and decides to. Looks like Immortal Koi is also going to go for a fake flipper.
So I'm just looking at the rest of the crystals that our tracker has graciously helped us with. Turtle Rock is a pendant today, so we will not need Ice Rod. Well,
Hopefully.
yeah, I say that and then instantly say, I'm going to take that back because now there's going to be something important like a hook shot on Trinex. But unless we actually need to defeat Trinex, we will not need Ice Rod. That would be unfortunate.
Getting Hype Cave on Mean DM side. And Edium as well, going to do the fake flipper. Okay, I like this from Edium. Edium is going to be the only one of our runners to do the fake flipper, taking the time to farm up Zora money. I really think that if you're going to do this, you should probably try to loop in Zora with it, especially because Zora is the single check in logic that you will be doing. And if you can't do Zora, you should maybe reconsider doing it at all, unless you have the boots to water walk. This is my personal opinion. This is not rando Bible.
Sure, I kind of agree with you. It takes a long time. It'll strand Zora. In this particular seed, however, it does pay off due to the fact that you get a sword and the flute out of it, even if you cannot do Zora. So unless Zora has a critical item for us, something like the hook shot or the fire rod, you're probably okay. Sorry, I'm seeing talk in chat. Silvers in Pod?
Yeah, and Mean DM found the lamp in Hype Cave. So that means everything Homemade Beer is doing is not only, you know, like this is all in logic, which is, and with both bows found already, I always call it superstition, but I tend to think that early silvers points at pod. The game wants to make sure you have a bow to get whatever might be bow locked back here.
Yeah, and we're seeing homemade beer with the dark rooms in pod. The dark rooms in pod are generally not too bad until you decide to start heading to Helmasaur, and then you see that turtle room.
Wow, Medium also heading Hype Cave Pyramid to pod. Gonna have a much more pleasant pod clear with that lamp and red mail.
Now, I have not been counting items on homemade beer's side. I don't know if you've been watching him long enough to know them long enough to know how many items are in here.
I do not. They haven't done anything in the Dark Maze yet.
Okay.
We're seeing a hammer yump here.
I mean, it is a little bit faster.
There's the hook shot. So this is definitely required since Swamp is a crystal.
Okay, so hookshot and silvers, and the thing is that does mean that pretty much everyone will find the silvers, because you'll find the silvers on the way to the big chest.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a nice change for these runners, because I think I've seen a lot of these runners running the standard hard mode pools that we're getting for the tournament. So they'll be very happy not to do silverless Ganon again.
Okay, and homemade beer taking a death warp, I believe. I'm almost positive that I know he was planning on taking a death warp, but whether doing it at that time was intentional, I think it was. We're gonna see an attempt at Helma, looks like. It is the green pendant, so it's another item regardless. I don't know if I would be committing if it's just a compass. Well, we don't see anything of value on Dig Gamer Stumpy from Koi. Eddie M doing his old man check.
We now say welcome to the Raiders from Speed Gaming 4 as well. We seem to be the hub for everybody as things finish. Welcome to an ALTTPR daily race.
Yeah, we're not too far in. All of our runners have Dark World access. I think Edium is the only one who has not gone to Dark World yet. But got two runners checking out Pendant Pod. Homemade Beer is almost to Helmasaur. Hookshot was in Big Chest, and getting our first look on Edium's side here at Spectacle Rock. Nothing in the cave. And I think Edium is actually going to take that cane from Sahasrara, or Agina, and do a pretty iffy spike cave check, or try to maybe.
I just got a comment. Homemade Beer has finished the turtle room in the dark. Mm-hmm. That you were mentioning hard dark rooms in Eastern Palace early, but that room to me is definitely one of the hardest, if not maybe the hardest dark room to figure out.
Yeah, I just not sure. Oh, I forgot the first bottle they got was green potion. So yeah, this is pretty nice for Edium. And Helma with 6 hearts. That's the NMG vanilla loadout if you don't get Sank Heart, but you don't have blue mail, so you actually have twice as many hearts as you normally would on Helma. And taking him down nicely. gets his compass, but more importantly, what he came for, the green pendant. So nothing is going to bite him in pod again. I expect we'll probably see a pretty quick turn in of that before heading anywhere else. But maybe we just go to the mountain. I don't know. I would probably turn it in case we get like Mitts on Sahasrara or something.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see whether Edium takes this lamp to pod as well. Mortal Koi did not, but is going to get gated into that pretty soon, I think.
I think one of the things of, if you go through the amount of time that it takes to go get that green pendant of Helmasaur, you may as well turn it in when you have a chance.
The earliest convenience, and Immortal Koi in the mirror, so that's actually probably going to put off pod a little longer, because that gets him all the same checks as that hook shot, but from the other direction. We see homemade beer heading to the Village of Outcasts, and Mean DM gonna give us, I think, our first look at Back of Escape. That's a check that I feel like isn't super common to see for the first time this far in, but there's always been something else to do.
Yeah, when the seed is nice enough to give you so many different checks, this is relatively low priority, but eventually when you save and quit, it's a great place to go. And I guess we did see it on Edium's side earlier, and neither you nor I were looking at the time.
4 runners on screen, man. It's too much.
We each do have 2 eyes, but it is really hard to look at 2 things at once, and happen for both of us to look at 2 different things at the same time. Oh, yeah, sorry, I was just reading chat there. Apparently, Edium has passed up on the red mail.
Yeah, I don't blame him. If he ever wants to take a death warp or something, red mail is just makes that harder. You know, he doesn't know when he's going to be getting the mirror, for example. And blue mail, 9 hearts is honestly, it's pretty safe. Ooh, a book. That's a very nice find for Edium. And given what our runners have, it's going to be a while before any of them feel very incentivized to head over that direction.
Yeah. Where's Edium going? Oh. Was checking the mushroom and grabbing the flute spot. That makes sense. I was just wondering, no book there, no mirror there, no mitts there. What are you doing over at Eastern Palace?
Edium did just get the book at Catfish. Was checking the ledge. I think if it was mitts or mirror, he might have walked in and gotten it, but otherwise, I don't think he really wants to go into Pendant Desert, only to find out its boots locked and get a fetch quest when he has some Dark World to do.
I agree with you, and the thing is that opening of Desert, it doesn't take that long, but it does feel like it's long. And the thing is, in a race situation, you don't want to waste the time with a cutscene if you can just come back later with a mirror in the midst and just skip it entirely.
Yeah, or even the boots, right? Like anything that can make Desert more appealing is something probably worth waiting for, especially when it's a pendant.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially with a pendant. You don't really want to go into pendants unless you have pendant dungeons, unless you have to.
Edium picking up his mirror has not done dig game stumpy checks yet, so we'll probably be seeing Cave 45 from him after Thieves Town here. First 2 phases of the
Ooh,
blind script.
ooh,
Very nice.
Ooh. Flippers. Paradox Cave.
Okay, so Mean DM probably gonna find that flute before too long. Might even be able to loop it in with catfish. Should work out nicely. I didn't see what was on blind.
I didn't either, actually. But as you mentioned, there is that scripted fight, and I'm sure we'll see it from Edium in not too long. But for anyone that doesn't know, blind will do the exact same thing the first time you enter that room, every single time you play this game. So once you learn exactly how blind moves, you should be able to complete the fight with no or very little damage.
Yeah, it's blind's RNG actually depends on how you move. So if you move the same way, blind will move the same way, and so you can use those two things together to make the fight consistent. And after that, it's if on a refighter or in Enemizer, it's definitely a completely different thing. Very, very difficult casual boss, but one of the easier ones once you get that script down.
Yeah, so if you are one of our newer runners or someone who's potentially thinking of running, that is definitely one place that might help you out a lot. Even if you just learn phase 1 or phase 1 and 2, I know a lot of runners who just learn the first 2 phases and say, you know what, if I can save enough health on phase 1 and 2, I'll just tank any damage I get in phase 3 and finish the fight.
Powder in Tower of Hera basement.
Always a great safety. An underrated safety by some runners, I feel. But it is so nice for, again, newer runners to have that and just regain health whenever you need it. Will we see a Herapod? We will.
Looks like we will.
It's always interesting seeing different setups of Herapod because there's a few actually different ways of getting this. You just have to make sure you end up on the right pixel, but there's at least 3 or 4 different setups I've seen on how to get there with the bomb.
We got the second item. I missed it. I was just checking to see where everyone else was. I doubt it was anything important. But yeah, so while our runners are all, well, mostly retracing each other's steps or doing checks that won't result in items, be sure to give our runners a follow. Putting on a great show here. Ooh, as Mean DM gets middle hold,
center,
which is punishing. It takes you 2 floors down, and it's a slow walk of shame back up. Walk of shame being in the proverbial sense. Nothing shameful about falling to Moldorm because everybody at every level has it happen.
Yeah, but definitely that's something to jump in there. And we do see Edium getting to the blind fight as well. And the hammer really does help a lot with the Moldorm fight, as you see on Medium's side. Second time, perfectly good. But yeah, for sure, definitely give these runners a follow. Follows do really help the runners a lot more than you would think if you've never streamed or looked at how it works out. So if you like what you're seeing, please do give them some support and our other volunteers. But yeah, there we go. 2 crystals for our top runners. So what do we see next? Where's Medium going here?
Spike Cave. And yeah, I think just trying to think of where the next progression could be. We haven't seen Zora, and we haven't seen Furnace Skull Woods, haven't seen Cave 45, and we haven't seen any of Desert. Oh, right, Zora. Yeah, we did see Zora from Edium, and yeah, it was nothing.
Yep.
So yeah, it's Cave 45, Desert. If we find another sword, it could be one of the tablets. I don't think anybody has checked that shovel yet. So we'll be seeing that shortly.
Yeah.
No one has checked PED
Oh.
yet. Only one runner has gone to Catfish for that book, and didn't think it was worth it yet.
I'd say at this point it's not really worth. Oh, we got a cape on Digging Game. Oh, we saw that on
continuing to
Koi's
farm.
side, or Mortal Koi's side. Yeah.
Looks like
money?
he is considering going to pod at the end of this, which is going to be a good call.
It definitely makes sense. You want to make sure you have enough money to finish the rest of the small money sinks in the game. Pod is the biggest one in the Dark World, but you have a few small things, like when you do the Blacksmith's Chain, they do take a few rubies. And it really sucks as a runner when you walk into one of those really small, tiny expenses, something like Blacksmith's or Chest Game, and you find out you actually don't have enough money to actually finish it.
It's not the dig spot.
Yeah. We're starting to run out of things to do. And Medium finding that lamp. Flute! I have no idea how I confuse those. But everybody has a flute now.
Oh, and Magic Bat, which is in Logic with that powder from Medium. That's another check we haven't seen yet. So my money is probably on the mushroom or magic powder, like the mushroom out of Desert or the magic powder. We're probably gonna see Edium take this. Well, no, I think we're probably gonna see him flute to pod after this instead of going into Desert.
Pod just has so many more options, so many more items. They're
Yeah,
both
and
crystals.
You know you can get all of them too. Is another big factor.
That is
Rupee
true
Horde.
too. Rupee Horde. Yeah, that's what I wanted to comment on too. That's not helpful.
Yeah,
that's the unfortunate thing. They can check what's on it, but until they get a Master Sword, no one can actually get what's on the tablets.
Yeah, John Boy in chat bringing up a good point. Our runners, between all of them, have everything they need to clear Swamp Palace, but none of them has everything. So Edium is heading to the mountain. Gonna get his flippers and powder up here. Mean DM probably about to get the mirror. Gonna do Magic Bat here, and then head to Dark World. So Mean DM is going to be able to do Swamp shortly. What was that on Ether Tablet?
Coach Cash. So more rubies.
Couch Cash.
I actually wanted to comment on something you were saying there with Logic. You were saying that we can do Swamp in Logic, but no individual runner can. Here's the other thing. 3 of our runners still think Flute is out of Logic.
Yeah, for the moment. Yeah, I don't think any...
Medium is the only one with both Flippers and Flute. So he is the only one who actually believes that item is in Logic.
Yeah, Edium is minutes away from finding that Logic. And Magic Bat was not the answer. But it was a sword. So Mean DM, if he were to head to Catfish, could get the rupees off the tablets. But an extra sword
Not that
is
important.
nice regardless.
Yeah, the sword helps a lot. Hey, we now have Aga. No, we had actually Aga access earlier with the cape and the sword and the lamp. But either way, we will
I believe
not
we
be
saw
seeing
one
the Aga fight.
runner, not one runner check it, and it was nothing.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it would just be for Dark World access, and we've had Dark World access for at least 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And here comes the Moldorm fight on Edium's side.
We're seeing front of escape
Hammer?
from homemade beer.
I don't think we've seen that from have we seen that from
No.
anyone yet?
I didn't see what was in the first chest, but I don't think Mean DM, the small key was in the back. Mean DM, I don't think did Dark Cross, which is an item. So I think homemade beer will be the first one we're seeing that from.
All of our runners now do have mirror, with medium finding it in C-shaped house.
And with that, Mean DM is the first of our runners who can go clear swamp. So that would be a likely check after Thieves Town here.
Yes, and us as commentators and viewers, we know that no one's been in there, and everything everyone else has checked really hasn't gotten us anywhere. And since Swamp has 6 items in total, there is a strong likelihood that something is in there.
Well, yeah, I think at this point it's all but guaranteed, because you gotta hope that otherwise you have to hope that the item is behind, you know, the one chest in desert we can open. So like either there's an item in there, or, you know, the keys there, or the mushroom behind the book, or it's one of 6 items in swamp, all of which we can get. So I think that is the safe bet for where we're gonna find probably our Titansmiths.
Can you imagine if desert is boots locked and the mushroom actually leads to boots?
I mean, yeah, that would be obnoxious, but
it's unlikely, but you know,
yeah,
just for a little bit of fun.
Certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I don't think any of our runners have forgotten Skullwoods. They just don't want to go there. Skullwoods in particular it's really likely to have one of the items on Moth, since there can't be a small key there. But
I do find it surprising that no one's gone to the front.
Yeah, that is also surprising to me.
It's something that a lot of people normally skip when they're learning it, but after a while you start realizing that the front of Swamp, even though it may only have one item, at this late into the game, you gotta kind of consider it overworld because it's always accessible.
Yeah, I think the runner who was getting to it late enough to maybe, you know, justify doing it, or to most justify doing it, was Mean DM, who ended up getting the mirror, and that opened up a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'd be really surprised if we saw Mean DM continue to front of Skullwoods now. And we see Edium, without the hook shot yet, heading into Pendant Desert. Without that hook shot, Swamp is not something he is interested in.
Yeah, that's a rough choice to make, going into Swamp without hookshot or hammer. But once in a blue moon, you do need to go in there without that item. Today is not that day.
Yeah, I think in the qualifier today, I think a hookshotless Swamp dip was required.
And last night, the hammerless one was required, so Swamp can kind of be funny that way.
So Edium finds out Pendant Desert is boots locked, which he doesn't mind too much, I'm sure, because it saves him from checking anything else. He's going to grab that mushroom, and then he'll turn that in, and I'm sure Pod will be his next stop. Meanwhile, Immortal Koi is cutting to the chase. Might check Pyramid, but definitely on his way to Pod in the long run here.
Medium has finished up the blind fight, found that piece of heart, but got the crystal. And Homemade Beer about to find out that there's just rupees on Ether Tablet. The nice thing for Edium is that he doesn't have to consider whether to save that mushroom or not for a fake powder, because he has powder.
This is a strange call from Homemade Beer.
Oh, Edium. Edium has found the myths.
That's a big find.
You gotta do your fetch quests.
So that's a huge find. That means that book on Catfish is required. And Immortal Koi is about to get that. So Mean DM is the only runner who will not have that book shortly.
Wow. Let's see what Edium does with the book, with those mints.
That said, that's even longer for Edium until he is forced to go to Pod to get that hook shot.
Yep. It might be good for everybody else, but that could cause a little bit of a problem.
Now, Homemade Beer can get into Swamp Palace, take the bait, and avoid that mushroom.
We saw Meyer Shed check. Did we see the Meyer pendant? I missed it.
Bombos is the Meyer medallion.
Ah, okay.
So we have it. And anyone with the hook shot could get in and clear it if they take a quick stop on Lake Hylia Island. So I think on Mean DM's side, we are likely to see a swamp clear, followed by probably picking up that cane. Maybe the cane first if they're not comfortable with Bomb Diver down. But I was surprised to see Homemade Beer go check the whole mountain before clearing Crystal Hera. And with cane in hand, Edium is heading to Ice Palace, which makes a lot of sense.
That's so close. That is so nice. You just pick it up and walk into ice in that case. So the reason we talk about this...
Go ahead.
I just want to say that the reason we're talking about this is that there is a glitch here for any of our newer viewers that allows our runners to walk through a rail and make this dungeon quite a bit easier. And you need the Cane of Samaria for it. I'm sure you will see Edium pull it off in just a moment. Now, Vortex, what were you about to say there?
I don't remember. Edium is likely to be the only... well, actually, I was going to say, I think, that Edium is likely to be the only runner who manages to pick up that cane right on the way into ice, but it looks like Immortal Koi is proving me wrong. Going to pick up that mushroom. And
yep. Edium almost had the very nice 2-bomb quick kill as well. in the Pengator room. That room can be a little bit rough if you don't have a good sword. There is a few good options for quick kills. With the Master Sword, the best one is that 2-bomb one, and one Pengator decided to dodge one of the bombs.
Yeah, and somebody in chat pointed out that we're Fire Rod from no mode. No runner is only Fire Rod from go yet. Mean DM needs Fire Rod and Mitts, as does Homemade Beer, and Immortal Koi and Edium also need the hook shot. I'm assuming both Mean DM and Homemade Beer, they've both seen the Cane of Samaria and can get it. They just haven't gotten around to it yet. But yeah, so we're just looking for the Fire Rod, and then we can, barring a GT Big Key torch situation, we can finish the seed.
Oh, that GT torch. That's always the thing.
I don't expect any of our runners to do anything extra if they find the Fire Rod before they find boots. Looking for it, they'll check the stuff on the way, because not only is it nice to have boots, but or not. What I was meaning to say is, not only is there the 1 in 22 chance, but it's also nice to have boots. But I don't think any of our runners are gonna, risk a lot of time on that 1 in 22.
I agree. Maybe if there's something along the way, they decide to pick it up just because they're passing the chest anyways. But oop, Mean DM having a little bit of an issue, setting up this bomb diver down. But that.
There it is.
Fire Rod.
The Fire Rod. So that's
no mode.
All Mean DM needs to do is go to Catfish. Actually, Mean DM will probably go back in for left side. What? Actually, how many items have we gotten? Or have we gotten any dungeon items? I think we might have gotten one in Compass Chest.
I unfortunately was not counting, and I've been watching some of the other runners as well. Getting the hammer cold stare fight out of Edium. A little bit of mix of hammer and sword spins. 3 hearts. Good to have blue mail.
Oh my gosh, some of these close calls on Edium's side. Clearly knows what he's doing, though.
Clearly. He used that blue potion to get full health and full magic, and then didn't take a single hit afterwards.
I mean, he was 1 hit on Cold Stare against a Puff, and yeah, I mean, you saw how close he got to some of those Puffs. It's always better to use a safety and end up not needing it than to die, because you needed it.
But it does feel bad when you use that safety and then you finish the fight and you look at your health and go, well, I didn't need that. I could have used that at a later time.
So for Edium, that is both red crystals. He's going to be heading to Pyramid Fairy. I think Mean DM is probably going to be picking up this cane and then heading to Catfish. I don't know that Mean DM has a whole lot left. And this is easily the second most convenient that Catfish will ever be. Okay, never mind. I'm full of it. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I did mention
Main
earlier.
DM has not done escape yet, so that is what is next, I think.
I did mention earlier that as soon as one of us says something, the runners will decide not to do it,
Yeah.
even though they can't hear us.
Homemade beer is going left side. I think the only thing we can hope is here is boots or a sword.
A sword would be very nice at this point.
A sword would be a pretty big find.
Master sword is not great.
That's one sword. I don't think either Edium or Immortal Koi are likely to get a sword on left side swamp because there'll be one item from go when they go to swamp, presumably, unless one of them dies at hookless, and they'll get go mode and back, and you're not going back to left side. So a sword here would be probably a sword advantage for the duration of the game.
But nope,
No such
nothing
luck.
there. We have 2 runners in escape. At 55 minutes in, we have 2 runners in escape.
And only one of them uncle routed. Yeah, Koi's sprite is, I believe, Dark Zora is what it's called, I think.
That makes sense.
Main DM heading to the Dark World. I have to imagine we will be seeing a Skullwoods clear with that fire rod. We're looking for mitts and down to not very many places it can be. I don't think you run over to catfish while it's on the table. And you're right here. So that's probably next. But Main DM is gonna probably be the first of our runners to, well, yeah, it's a little too early to call that, but I think Main DM, the first logical place to take that book is to desert in this situation. I don't think you want to make an extra mountain climb hoping for mitts. I think you take it there first.
Yeah, that extra climb can waste a lot of time if it's not up there.
In Immortal Koi, picking up Kane. This makes sense. I don't know if it's faster to walk around this way than to go from the south. But, pretty solid way. Meanwhile, homemade beer with a nice silver arrow finish to Argus. One of the nice things of having the silver arrows for that fight.
As long as you get that hit, Argus likes to move just fast enough that if you misjudge your timing, it is extremely easy to miss that arrow.
Main DM with some interesting Skullwoods routing. Oh, never mind. It's a crystal, not a pendant. This isn't interesting at all. Back first is pretty standard. You have to do this anyway, so might as well get it done first. And if you get your items early, you're done.
It also significantly decreases your chance of getting key locked in the back just in case.
Yes. Though, if you in the front, if you check both the middle and right side, and you don't get a small key, the dropping in is guaranteed to give you a key, because there are only 5 total things that aren't small keys in Skullwoods, and if you found 2 of them already, and Moth can't have a small key, one of the 3 in the middle is guaranteed to be a small key. Yes, I said that correctly. Took a while.
Oh, I lost track of that a little bit at the end, but I will trust that that's...
Basically, if you haven't found a small key, if you do the middle and map chest in Skullwoods, dropping in the left hole, you're guaranteed to be able to get out.
Oh, yes.
But you do have to do the middle to do that. And if you're going to the middle and you have the fire rod in Crystal Skullwoods, it just makes sense to go to the back. So.
Yep, for sure.
So Mean DM is going to be full clearing Skullwoods along with homemade beer here. Meanwhile, Immortal Koi and Edium are full clearing ice, which, well, I guess Edium looks like he is going to be full clearing Skullwoods. Just as part of a double dip. Really putting off that Pendant Pod play a long time.
In the end, Skullwoods is required to be completed one way or the other.
That's true, but Skullwoods is sneakily, in my opinion, one of the dungeons that benefits the absolute most from a go mode versus a full clear. If you can go mode Skullwoods, the dungeon takes like a minute, and if you have to full clear it, it adds so much time. And Edium is looking for 2 things, and one of them just lets him ignore everything else here, right? Like if he finds Fire Rod, all he has to do is go to Moth. So. Meanwhile, Mean DM on the long trek from Graveyard Ledge over to Catfish, remembering that no mitts and no boots means Graveyard Ledge is a very sad check. Interestingly, though, I think there was 1 item in the chest below Moth and 1 item in the middle. So Edium is not going to find anything by checking the front here. So Edium is actually going to clear more of Skullwoods than our other 2 runners.
Unfortunately, there's nothing that he wants that's actually here.
Yeah, since we know where everything is, I guess we haven't seen a sword that any of our runners would be would have would like to see. Yeah, there's I think we're probably looking at swords. There are quite a few places swords can be. Dark Death Mountain, Mire, TR, but
yeah, those swords could really be almost anywhere at this point, just because we can complete the rest of the game on this Master Sword, even though our runners wouldn't really like to do it.
Indeed, I'm remembering he doesn't have mitts before trying to pick up the rock this time, so. So it's a pretty hard trick to remember you don't have mitts when you have mitts so often, or boots, especially in that specific spot. It's a huge pain to remember you don't have them.
Yeah, we just saw, I think the other day, we saw someone trying to pick up the Bumper Cave rock at something like an hour and a half in a similar situation, just because you're so used to having the gloves there.
Oh, apparently homemade beer. We must have missed a death or something in Eastern because I saw him go to Saha after Eastern, and I guess not. I guess just went to Saha and then went to Pendant Pod before Crystal Eastern. So I am blind. That is insane, actually. That's some crazy gutsy play. That's been paying off though.
Yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss for words there. It's gonna work, but
yeah, I mean, not gonna get punished badly because it not only is it, you know, like it's a dungeon you have to clear, but everybody's clearing this the same way because the big key's vanilla. You're not gonna get punished for putting this off till go mode. There's nothing you need in here, and it's the best layout for having nothing you need versus somebody who did it early. So
Medium picking up that mushroom, immediately fluting over to the witch. That's gotta have been a last location, right? Nope.
Well, no, the tablets. Yep. The tablets are.
Oh, the tablets.
And Helmasaur, which Mean DM skipped when homemade beer, who did not have the lamp, went and did it, notably. So Mean DM skipped it knowing it was in logic. Homemade beer skipped it, you know, assuming it wasn't yet, though knowing the hookshot was behind the lamp. So Mean DM is presumably in go mode. I assume we'll be seeing Iced Tea skipped. The switch hit for Icebreaker. A lot of people hit it regardless, but in a full clear, it's usually a little faster. It's very marginal in a full clear to clear it, to not hit the switch and just.
It depends on if you want to learn two different routes. Personally, I know the switch route one way or the other. So if you just want to learn one route, it can be a little easier. But as you said, it's a little bit faster if you don't hit it.
Yeah. And personally, I think if you're going into like pendant ice, which you'd prefer never to finish if you don't have to, like hitting the switch is more likely to be wasted time than doing it. But not so. This is a crystal. Mean DM hitting the switch. I would be very, very surprised if we saw Iced Tea here. I think that's a pretty incredibly safe play when you're probably in go mode. That 20, you know, if you're, I guess you wouldn't be talking about this particular situation if you were missing Kane and going and otherwise in go mode, because you wouldn't be clearing ice like this. But
can't do Icebreaker without it.
And homemade beer, being the only one of our runners to do Armos with silver arrows, gets it done very nicely.
There's got to be that little bit of a feeling in the back of our runners' minds of where are those boots?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the biggest, the thing I'm thinking about. Literally all of a seed where I don't have it. If I get to go mode, checking a bunch of stuff without it, Mean DM with a nice stair clip. One of the only ways that room is bearable without boots. But yeah, if you don't have boots, you're wondering where they are. If somebody checked in, if they're in the one check you didn't do, like Mean DM, I'm sure is thinking like, what if boots are on Helma or on the tablets, right? Like,
yep.
But yeah, all of our runners are converging. Eddie M just picked up his hook shot, and understandably no interest in doing Green Pendant Helma, even needing an item still.
You know,
Ooh.
as you're mentioning, our runners are converging. 3 of our runners have 4 crystals.
Yep. And
Medium
Medium.
somehow is about to be at 6.
Yeah, that quick Skull Woods clear directly into Mitts, working out very well for Medium. One puff down. Edium heading into Swamp.
Still a little dangerous with that Master Sword on Cold Stare. Master Sword Cold Stare is never a fun fight to actually have to do, but the Fire Rod does help a little bit for the early bit of damage.
109.40, Homemade Beer has entered Go mode, or GT mode, certainly.
Yeah, it's a good way to word it, GT mode. We'll see where that big key is.
Homemade Beer, not checking Mire Shed. That is a brave call.
Ooh. I don't think there was anything important.
No,
in
there wasn't
in this
anything
particular case, but
no,
you're right. It's definitely a brave call. It doesn't take that long to check it, and if it does have something,
right? If
I guess
you
Boots.
I
guess he knows it's not
Homemade
required.
Beer actually is down the magic bat sword. Has not picked that up yet. So that's one more thing. I think with this equipment, I probably would have checked out Mire Shed just in case it had that sword.
Yeah, I think you're right in this case. The sword is a huge impact here. In their case, just being on fighter sword means you can't finish the game.
Yeah, and there will be another sword out there. There are too many places to check that we haven't seen. But I don't think Homemade Beer is getting that magic bat sword, which makes him the only one of the runners not to. That's going to be a sword disadvantage for the remainder of the game.
But what happens if like the other 2 swords are in something like Turtle Rock?
Well, then he probably will get the magic bat sword, but it'll be a fighter sword climb, a fighter sword gauntlet.
That would be so unfortunate. Hopefully there's another sword somewhere along that route. Not only for Homemade Beer to get Master Sword, but for everybody else just to get that tempered.
This is a odd call from Edium. Edium is presumably one item from Go. Doing left side swamp first here is it's an unorthodox play.
Could be feeling like he's either behind or feels something. Feels there's something here, or something else indicated it to him. But otherwise, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think like even if you plan to do left side, and Immortal Koi also one item from Go, doing Pendant Helmasaur for the compass. I am going to have some questions for. Well, right. I mean, there is one item, but you just had Crystal Swamp open up to you and Crystal Mire, right? You have 2 crystals fully open with that hook shot.
So Edium left side swan, Koi, odd Elma. Hopefully we can remember to ask that at the end. For anybody in chat, please do try to remind us at the end. We'll see if we can ask the runners what was going through their head in that moment.
Big key to Meyer. Did we see one item? Or have we not seen any?
I have unfortunately been watching our left side runners. I'm not quite sure what's happened in Meyer.
There is GT mode for Edium.
Yep.
Still needs to do the rest of Swamp and then Meyer and Skull Woods. Mean DM is just needs to finish Vidi with Silver Arrows here and will be on his way to GT. And Homemade Beer has ice left after this.
One of our trackers, Scoopula, mentioning that there's been money in a heart in Meyer.
Okay, so,
so
there were
important. But
there were two items. No spooky from Mean DM. Homemade Beer opened the bombed the wall open and then did spooky in the third room.
Autopilot?
Or maybe messed it up and didn't know what went wrong with that one. That's the one that's the most finicky. You know, sometimes you can hit the anti-fairy and you're at the wrong height.
Yeah, recovering from that can be extremely difficult. Sometimes, if you're not comfortable with the recovery of that particular glitch, it can take quite a bit more time to actually try to fix it than just to do it normally. And here we go, another Silver's Vitreous, as we just saw on Homemade Beer side. It is a very quick fight. Don't blink. You won't actually see anything. Yeah, we have confirmation from chat. There was just a little bit of an issue getting the exact height and the exact spot for the spooky in the first room for Homemade Beer. We do have our last crystal, and I already see guesses in chat. So there are 22 checks in GT that can have the big key. Let us know a number from 1 to 22 where you think that big key might be.
The grabbing a blue potion, knowing Master Sword Ganon might come up. Has the cape, has silver arrows. Not a fight we're worried about, but definitely a worthwhile thing to pick up safeties if you feel you need them.
Never hurts to have it. Takes a few seconds. Just really helps with that fight, just in case something goes wrong. A lot of health, though.
Interesting choices here. Mean DM taking the choice I would do in this situation. Going through Super Bunny, might check them for boots or a sword. This is probably one of the most borderline cases where I couldn't really fault a runner for checking or not checking. Just like, you know, you're probably not going to die to Ganon. Boots are probably not there, and you don't want to waste 10 seconds, right? Like, it's kind of the perfect storm of reasons both to do it and to not do it. But with TR portal not open, I think going up through here is probably frames slower. It's oh, and there's a sword, so it's worth.
For sure. That sword helps a lot for this particular climb.
That sword is going to bail out Homemade Beer hard. That is a guaranteed check on Fighter Sword.
Yeah. That helps. Yeah, as you said, Homemade Beer just got very lucky with that location.
And Immortal Koi also doing left side swamp first. Left side.
I do have to ask, as medium goes in there, do you have a normal guess?
I often say 5.
And my normal number is 8. So I just gotta, for the record, gotta ask before we get in here and start doing it. But yeah, that's a second left side swamp check for 1 item. Koi and Edium both doing that. Very interesting. Immortal Koi also having done Pod and Green Pendant Helma first. 3 small keys in Hope Room. That's not the 2 types of keys you're hoping for in there.
I have to say, I usually do go left first in GT, but if I don't have boots, I always go left first. I want to know immediately if I need the boots in GT. So Mean DM has made of stronger stuff than I am.
Taking that guess, hoping it's not there.
We'll have to keep our eyes out for a sword in here as well, because that might bail homemade beer out with tempered.
That's 3, 4, 5. Half magic. That helps.
There's our ice rod.
Ice rod 6. Mirroring and going over to the other side. There are just so many. There are a few common roads for runners, but every once in a while you see people do something different, and nope.
Actually, go mode. So.
Unfortunately, nothing there. That's 7 items. Our runners are in go mode. No boots hunt today. 8.
PSA, kill the enemies after you've opened the chests and you know you need to continue through. 9, 10. There are boots too. So
So I guess it wouldn't have been too bad. If you found the big key there, you probably continue anyways. Find those boots, just turn around and say, hey, look, I'm done.
Yeah, that would have been a heck of a route.
12.
The biggest challenge to getting boots in GT is remembering you have the boots. Let's see. Let's see if Mean DM gets a little use out of them before the end. I think it's pretty common to remember you have them in. Oh, okay. Maybe those rooms are just usually done without the boots.
I've lost track here. 12, 13? 13, I believe, correct?
I'm trying to count. Yeah, that was 13.
13, yeah, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Nope. Should have just gone full right. Gone straight to Ice Armos. And we got another runner in GT. Homemade beer on Medium's heels. If they go full right, they could catch up. Not fully,
or
but
even
could
hope
get
left.
a lot of time.
Would make a. It wouldn't catch them all the way up, but it would make up a non-negligible amount of time. And then there's always the tile room gamble.
Just the other day, we also saw someone go full right, straight to the back. Maybe we'll see that. Nothing in that chest.
This is 19 through 21.
Yep. The only problem for homemade beer is that they are 1 sword behind Medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's looking like that sword deficit is going to stick. Has Kate
20 what? No! It's in tile room!
It's in tile room. You love to see it.
Oh, it has been a long time since I've seen a tile room on stream. It does happen 1 in 22 games, on average. So, unfortunately, I think none of our runners are just going to immediately go to tile room. Nobody feels that behind.
Yeah, it's almost never the play you want to make. I know some people will do it earlier than last, but not many.
22 confirmed. Did we have a 22? We did! Nitro 6003. Congratulations. You chose the worst possible number for our runners, and it came true. And here goes the climb. Homemade beer, continuing further into this dungeon. We still haven't found that sword, though. No fourth sword for medium, meaning no third sword for homemade beer.
Yeah, I think homemade beer is likely to check the chests on the climb. Medium, I don't think is at this point with red mail, boots, 16 hearts, red mail. Tempered sword, like there's not much you want, even if you're not fully confident in your 1-on-1 on Ganon, which is the reason that tempered and gold are about the same. It's such a minor difference that I think I'd be betting that the last sword was in Desert or Turtle Rock at this point.
I agree. There's a very, very small difference between Gold Sword and Tempered Sword for Phase 1 and 2. But it's just not big enough to go out of your way to try to find it at this point.
Yeah, the fight done optimally, there should be no difference. That said, doing it optimally is easier said than done. Ooh, and we're seeing Yuzuhara Yuzuhara Lanmo attempt. Release the spin a little early. When you get them all to spin together, you can spin against that Samaria block and get a double spin on all three of them. And it's actually faster than using the Fire Rod. It's a nice little nice way to make up for maybe losing a little time waiting for that bunny beam.
So yeah, I guess just to clarify for newer viewers or someone who may just not have known that, if you use the powder on that bunny beam, you actually change the spawn times of the Landmolas, and they will all spawn pretty much at the same time as you saw there on screen.
Yeah, if it's the Landmos are on the same super tile as the room before, and their spawn starts on a timer that starts when you enter that room. And the longer you wait, the closer they get to all spawning together. This first one and second one will spawn together at first if you wait a little bit. You don't necessarily need to powder the bunny beam, but waiting there waits long enough for you to for that to happen. And as predicted, medium not picking up anything on the climb.
Some more powder. Getting full health, full magic.
Homemade beer starting their climb.
Just to kind of catch everybody up on the other runners, we got Edium on the climb, also looking for that big key. Or not on the climb, but in GT, sorry. Looking for that big key, should be there soon. And Immortal Koi still looking for that last crystal just to head up into the same dungeon with everybody else. So, Agatu, do we get any blue balls as we go through this? I assume we will.
Yeah, the second and third cycles, the real Aga can throw a blue ball at you. So every 1 and 4 is guaranteed to be energy shots that you can reflect.
Nice fight.
3 cycle there. That's the best number of cycles you could have gotten with a blue ball. So nicely done.
And I mean, even without the blue ball, it's, I think, something a lot of runners are targeting. Getting a perfect 3-3 without the blue ball is extremely difficult and requires a little bit of Aga's cooperation.
Yeah, it's rarely something that's free.
Here it is, into GT. Here we go. And we will be seeing the Silvers fight. If you've been watching a lot of our other daily races, or even some of the tournament races, this will be a lot nicer.
Missing the 1-1, the Trident spin. Should be able to clean up. And this is not a good phase. I would put on the cape here. Yeah.
Yep.
I think with the cape, this is a pretty guaranteed 2-1. So that's 6 seconds lost over the optimal fight.
Shouldn't be a huge deal.
Nope, not at all.
That amount of time is rarely the difference between 2 runners. Once in a blue moon, it happens.
Not friendly warp patterns from this Ganon.
No, but everybody will have the same warps, so there's no advantage for one runner over another. We will get the fire rod lighting, and we got the torch glitch.
Yeah, it's not as important in the Silvers fight, and often it's most optimal, depending on where he warps, not to even go for it, but it's nice to have, and that was very well cleaned up by Mean DM. Get your GGs in chat.
Yeah, get your GGs in chat for Medium, who has defeated Ganon. While we wait for Medium to cross that bridge, though, Edium is doing the climb with Master Sword.
Yeah, Edium evidently did not check Hookshot Cave, or Super Bunny Cave. But yeah, Mean DM crossed the bridge, finished first place on the restream, first place overall, 1:31:48 racetime.gg time.
Yeah, with homemade beer not too far behind, going to be entering Aga very soon. Edium on the climb, and Immortal Koi just getting into this dungeon now.
We are joined by Mean DM. GG.
Yeah, good game.
So we are about to have homemade beer enter the Ganon fight, but just before that, do you have any initial thoughts on the scene?
By and large, I'm really glad that I decided, hey, this bow did nothing for me in Eastern. Let's take that over to Pendant Pod and see what's up, eh?
Yeah, that seems to have been the story of the seed. Homemade beer actually skipped Crystal Eastern altogether, went to Saha, and then went to Pendant Pod. We didn't notice this at first until it went to Eastern much later during the Mitts hunt. That's the big difference. Our 2 left runners, Edium and Immortal Koi, ended up finding the Mitts before Hookshot and did a few extra things because of it. You guys got funneled into those Mitts a little earlier. and already had the hook shot and didn't have anything else to clean up. Homemade Beer is dropping into the Ganon fight and is doing a Master Sword fight. Did not get the sword off Magic Bat.
Oh, missed the Magic Bat one. I wondered if it was such a go mode that he decided he didn't want to pick up the one in Super Bunny. The one in Super
No, that's what Edium did. Edium is on the climb on Master Sword as well, skipping Super Bunny Cave.
You know, I had not opened TR, so the way I understand it is that it's faster to go through Super Bunny if you have not already opened TR. And I thought, you know what? These chests are right here. Why don't I just open them up?
Yeah, I think they basically tie probably the favor toward one or another with it not open and with quick swap is an important part of that is up to your execution. And with 2 free checks there on Master Sword, I do what you did every time.
Well, the other thing
Homemade
you
Beer.
also have to kind of keep in mind is dead rocks exist in the light world,
Yeah,
but not in the dark world.
Mhm.
And
Strangely
we
enough,
actually,
Dark Death Mountain is easier than Light Death Mountain in a lot of ways.
yeah, just 2 nights ago, actually, we saw in a daily race 2 runners 4 seconds apart going up Death Mountain, and the difference about who got into GT first is one got dead rocked, the other didn't.
Sounds like Light Mountain to me.
So yeah, it definitely helps. We do have Homemade Beer on phase 4, so let's just watch these last few bow hits on this frozen Ganon. Got to get one last lighting. Ooh, very little magic left, but that's not going to matter. And there is the 4th hit. Get your GGs in chat for Homemade Beer. We do have Edium on Agatu, but Homemade Beer does cross the bridge, finishes 2nd on the restream, 3rd overall, with a time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, 49 seconds. We did have a 2nd place finish from Koi, not Immortal Koi, but Koi, with a 1:34.20.
yeah. So little more than a minute between Homemade Beer and Koi.
Yeah, that guy's pretty good. He also refuses to use quick swap, so chop about 3 minutes off of that time if we could ever convince him to join the modern age, and yeah, that would have been a very tight finish.
Yeah, that would have been a photo finish, I think, probably. You know, that's pretty generous to Koi's menuing. 2.5 minutes of menu time is probably not what Koi got, but definitely a nice close race.
And once again, we actually have another, as we are joined by Homemade Beer, the 2nd restream finisher, we also instantly have our 3rd runner in the Ganon fight, but GG Homemade Beer.
GG's.
Yeah, good game, Homemade Beer.
We will definitely ask you your opinion on the siege. Just give us, I think, one moment to focus on Edium in phase 1 of the fight here.
Who's going with the Samaria Master Sword strat, which looks really impressive.
It's so hard.
Oh, I should have done that or tried it. I just saw that recently. It's cool.
So I guess the one thing for Homemade Beer to hear here is that Edium is on Master Sword like you were, but it's a different Master Sword. He picked up the Magic Bat and ignored Super Bunny Cave.
That's funny. I almost went to Magic Bat, but then I was like, well, there's that mushroom. Let's go chase that instead.
Yeah, that was definitely a... We were wondering whether there was, maybe a sword in GT that, routing could end up. And luckily, with the big key location being where it was, we got to see all of them, all of the locations. There wasn't a sword, but
and I was mildly surprised when I got my sword off of Magic Bat because I was busy tracking something else when I actually picked up the item off of, I guess it was Old Man. Old Man is what I wasn't looking at, and then all of a sudden, Master Sword. Well, so, that's entertaining.
So phase 4 right here, Edium did miss the torch glitch. Thankfully, with silvers and this not being hard bowl, that is not quite as big of an issue as it would be if you've been watching many of our other races over the last few days. He also does have a green potion, so that should extremely simplify matters. There it is. One more round, and we should have a finish.
Edium got a couple silverless hits in phase 4. One of the hardest things to do is Master Sword Silvers, because like that is such a rando specific skill, and so often you're doing Master Sword Silverless, the timing is just all off. You're not used to having to spin to hit Ganon normally, and it's tough. But
you keep getting
Edium
silverless hits,
gets
and you
the
keep
job
getting
done.
stop doing silverless. Stop doing silverless. I have silvers.
Get those GGs in chat for Edium, who has defeated Ganon, has crossed the bridge, finishes 3rd on the restream, 4th overall, with a time of 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 46 seconds. I do have to mention that 5th place has already been claimed. The Daddy Gamers finishes about 40 seconds after Edium with 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 28 seconds. Nice close 5th place finish. But okay, so now that we have a second, Immortal Koi is on Landmo 2, but homemade beer, thoughts on the seed?
So I felt like having some fun with this seed because playing too much tournament mode, and so I just started to go to random places at random times. And when I went to check Saha, I asked him where the green pendant was, and he said pod, and I said, okay, I'll go grab it for you real quick, and then figure out what to do after that.
Yeah, we were
But
wondering
overall,
about
pretty
that.
good. Sorry, go ahead.
So we were trying to watch all 4 runners, and we saw everyone else going to Eastern, and we saw you like talking to Saha, and then you were in pod, and then like 40 minutes later, we see you head to Eastern, and I was like, oh, there must have been like a death or something, and then I see you haven't opened any chests at all. And you've cleared swamp at this point, I think, right? Like,
yeah, I was trying to go mode Eastern. That was the other joke I was playing on myself the whole seed. I'm like, you know what? They gave me this early bow. I'm just gonna go mode the dungeon as my last dungeon if possible.
I think the funniest part about that is that it literally didn't matter. Like, everyone was clearing that the same way in go mode.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the silvers.
That was hilarious. That's true. You did silverless Armos.
Yeah, we had a lot of people actually early check
Silvers Armos.
pod. But we also do have Edium with us now in the booth. GG's Edium, welcome.
Hey, GG's.
Good game, Edium.
Since you're just joining us. Oh, wait, Immortal Koi? Oh, okay, it looked like he was going to try to do something funky there. But Edium, any initial thoughts on the seed?
Well, really the only mistake I made was just putting off pod for so long. Other than that, my routing was mostly good until I was only looking for the hook shot and the fire rod. And I said, you know what, I got the mitts early, probably earlier than most people, so I'm going to chase the mitts stuff. And that all turned out to be nothing. And then at that point, I was like, well, if I go to pod now, I'm kind of admitting defeat. So I just kind of got into like, I'm just going to put off pod until, there's no other good options, which is pretty much, so I just spent like, I don't know, almost 10 minutes just doing a bunch of overworld checks that were nothing. So yeah, just luck of the draw, I guess.
We do have Immortal Koi just entering the Ganon fight, but I know Vortex had a question for you, Edium, about left side swamp.
Yeah, it's one item from Go. You were just looking for Fire Rod, and you went left side first. Is that just something you always do, or is that...
I sometimes do it if I get a map or compass in the first couple checks, because that guarantees I'm getting at least one item. But in hindsight, yeah, I probably should have just went to the back first. I don't know. My plan was if I got 2 items in the first couple checks, I was just going to go straight to the back, and then If there was 2 items, I would come back in for left side. If there was 1, I'd probably just skip it. But since I got the map or whatever it was in the big chest, it was kind of a split decision to just do left side. But if I was maybe thinking a little more clearly, probably just going straight to the back is better.
Here comes the end of phase 3 for Immortal Koi, and we'll be hearing that question again in a moment, because not only did Immortal Koi also do left side swamp looking for just the fire rod, he also went all the way to Helmasaur for the green pendant, just looking for that fire rod.
Yeah, see, the thing is, if I'd gone to pod much earlier, which I was thinking about doing, I probably would have done the boss as well. So at least I got to skip doing the boss.
Yeah, Mean DM actually was the only one of our runners to go there, both early, but also have the lamp and skipped Helmasaur. Homemade Beer did finish it lampless, and we knew where the lamp was by the time you finished it. But
we actually do have a finish. So Immortal Koi has finished phase 4. Finishes 4th on the restream, 6th with a time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 59 seconds. Got in 1 second under that 145. Get your GGs in chat.
I will say, seeing that lamp where I did was kind of a second impetus to go over to the Palace of Darkness. You know, first off, Eastern had given me absolutely nothing, but I had that early bow. Then I also get the lamp, and I think, alright, so something lamp locked in the back of pod? This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Sorry, just to jump in here, we do have Immortal Koi with us. Welcome in, GG.
Yo, GG.
Yep, good game.
GG's.
It was interesting. It was funny getting the boots in GT.
Yeah.
And the ice rod.
Yeah, nice rod. Half magic.
I guess our
Yeah.
first question is initial thoughts on the seed, Immortal Koi.
I have a weakness to pod, so I always go really late, and I need to stop. I need to start going to pod sooner.
I think we did have 2 runners do an early pod, and 2 runners do a later pod.
Yeah, getting the hook shot would have been a lot better. It would have led me to go mode quicker, I think.
yeah, the Homemade Beer and Mean DM had go mode mitts, whereas you and Edium had go mode fire rod. Speaking of go mode fire rod, you did Helmasaur and left side swamp after getting that hook shot before heading to the back of swamp. Was there any reason for that? Was the Helmasaur play like, oh, maybe people who did this early bailed with the hook shot because there was so much open still, like maybe I should just do this 'cause it's...
Yeah, I kind of had done so much already. I was just thinking, like, I don't want to... I might as well just do it to be safe and not skip anything else. I should have at least skipped left side swamp, though.
I did both of those things as well.
Yeah, I should have just went back, and then if I didn't get anything, then go left side swamp.
Yeah, I think that you're probably in a similar place where I was at. Would have made sense, looking just for small progression at that point. I think I ended up last locationing the mitts besides the sword I never got, apparently.
Yeah.
So I guess you didn't have... We didn't see what was on any of the tablets, I don't think. We saw what...
I checked
we saw
both
what was on
tablets.
both tablets. Yeah, actually, I lied.
They were both
Nope.
rupees.
Yeah, rupees. We commented on that. But I think Mean DM last located mitts outside of the tablets.
Outside of
And-
the tablets and Spiral Cave.
Oh, Spiral Cave. I didn't notice that, Skip. That's
I did Spike Cave instead while I was up there, and it
Okay.
was just not on the way to get back to.
Oh, yeah, that was book to mushroom to mitts, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Book was on Catfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, the seed had a weird route. If you if you played it like halfway straightforward, like if you end up going to catfish and then get your flute and all that stuff, it actually ended up being like faster than like breaking logic. Like I don't usually break logic that much when I play, and this seed was a train wreck of logic that I wasn't in logic until like the hour mark or something. Maybe earlier. It felt late though.
Yeah, it took 3 of you a really long time to get the flippers. Medium spent a lot of time in Light World before. I think all you did in Dark World was Hype Cave to Pod, and then you went and cleaned up everything you hadn't done in Light World, including the mountain.
Well, I generally try to get Sphere 1 out of the way early if I can. Unless I happen to get Mirror so that I can start combining checks like that, I really like to not leave things behind in Sphere 1. So once I had cleaned that out and gotten nothing off of the obscenely early bow for my efforts, and I thought, well, I'll start at Hype Cave and I'll move up to Pod, because now I have not only the bow, but I've checked Hype Cave and gotten the lamp, so I've got the back of Pod fully in logic. And as soon as the hook turned up there, I thought, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and chase that, and the chain just kind of kept popping along.
Yeah, it worked out really well where you could, it was pretty easy to call roughly where you were going next. You proved me wrong several times. I thought you were going to go to Catfish after grabbing Samaria off Lake Hylia Island, but you went to Escape instead at that point. But
yeah, that's a long run, and Escape was kind of a questionable play. At the time, I felt like if I don't check this now, I don't know that I'm ever going to get it checked, and if the mitts are just in there, I'm bleeding time everywhere.
Right.
Oh, did you do like a pyramid mirror to escape combo?
No, I had to run back up to it. I finally got the mirror. I went down, I did Swamp, I came out of Swamp, I got Samaria, and since I was in the Light World, I just kind of swam up to that ladder and ran up to the front of Escape really quick. Probably not ideal, but that's what I did. I got something like a 20 the map and maybe some bombs for my troubles. Nothing worth talking about.
And you'd done Pyramid on your way to Pod, so it was there wasn't any incentive to stay in Dark World to continue on to Catfish at that point. And you'd gotten Fire Rod, and hadn't done Graveyard Ledge, so that route made a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. I still had that Northern Dark World route available to me, was the other kind of part of that I was thinking when I didn't rush Catfish any earlier than I did. It was kind of going to be the end of that Northern Dark World route for me.
It was a pretty convenient way to last locate Catfish, so hard to complain about a first place finish. So
yeah, I was gonna say who might argue with the routing choices of the winner.
I completely skipped dipping in Skullwoods too. I was worried that's why I was worried I was missed Fire Rod in there or something.
I'm gonna hop out. GG's everyone, and thanks to commentators and trackers.
GG's.
Yep, good game, Idiom.
I guess this is a good time to ask if anybody else has any final kind of thoughts on the seed from our runners.
It was actually a pretty fun seed. I think it was pretty straightforward. There were a few things that, like, I feel that were questionable after the fact, but at the time, I guess they made sense. I actually forgot to do back of Escape, so when I did the front, I'm like, well, crap, I gotta go check Dark Cross now, and stuff like that. That ended up not mattering, but then I ended up wandering around for a long time after finding the flippers. Like, just go straight to Swamp, It's one of those things that probably makes sense.
Yeah, Swamp was the play.
Because it also put me back in logic after because normally I don't do Hobo and all that stuff with Zora without money and stuff, but I just said, oh, well, I'll just do this, and hopefully Zora has nothing, and if not, if something's there, I can try and go back when I get the mirror with Catfish or something. And ended up actually being able to do that, but kind of a waste of time at that point, especially after finding the book.
Yeah, I don't know what else I could say. I thought it was fun. So, thank you, Vortex of Doom and Seth No, for commentating. Who did we have tracking? I only have so many monitors.
It'll be Scupula and Sorcerer Finch, who we will both be thanking in a minute, anyways, as well. But yes, for sure.
Excellent, and
Yeah.
thank everybody who came out and watched it. It doesn't go off without you guys as well, because if nobody's watching, that's kind of the point of the restream.
So
Yeah,
it is.
thanks everyone. This is always fun to be on and join the other racers here and the comms and trackers as well. Everyone putting on the show does a great job.
Mortal Koi, I think you're the last one here. Any final thoughts?
Scupa said that they didn't want the boots early since they're tracking, so hope you like the boots GT. But yeah, that was fun, and thanks for all the volunteer work and everything. Everyone watching, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun, so thank you.
Yes. So I definitely want to thank all our restreamed runners for joining us. Thanks for being willing to be put up on the big screen here with everybody else. As was mentioned, our trackers today were Scupula and Sorcerer Finch, so we definitely have to thank them out, especially as Vortex actually I think mentioned earlier, with 4 runners on stream, it can be very difficult to see everything. They really do help us out, and thank you to Vortex for being here with me.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you as well. This was a great race to come. There were we got some nice differing routes, some cool convergences at certain points. Yeah, there was just a lot of interesting stuff to look at, and I had a blast and hope to do it again. But I think that'll do it for us here. Go ahead.
The big thing I do want to remind everybody is that do give we mentioned earlier, but do give the runners a follow if you can. But also, we do have a lot of stuff going on over the next little while here. Even right now on Speed Gaming, on some of the other channels, we do have some current races going on. So don't forget to follow this channel, Speed Gaming 5, but also Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 4. There will be a lot more ALTTPR action over the next little while with the main tournament going on, as well as the dailies. The next daily will be tomorrow in North American Eastern Time, 2 p.m. with the Triforce Hunt. And there will be some qualifiers for the main tournament on both Saturday and Sunday. So do keep an eye out for those. Keep an eye out on the Speed Gaming channels for our further races. And that'll be it for me. So I hope you had a good time with us, and I hope to see you next time. But Vortex, any final words from you?
Nope, you said it well. GG's, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.